welcome. I'm Steve Siddall along with Coach Pete from the Financial Safari Radio Show. Let's take a recap, a look back at last week's show. And, you know, we had a lot of rain this weekend,
yeah, we
Pete,
did.
and it really didn't do a lot of good, though, because it came down so fast, it didn't do anything for us. You said that that's kind of like the market.
Do you like the bright jacket on?
I
by
do
the
like
way?
that. I
So
do like
chase
that
the
a
rain
lot.
away, Stevie.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That's a Technicolor dream coat.
I like it.
Well, you know, when the rain comes down hard, and I was always confused about this because it rains real hard, and you say, "Gosh, the weatherman won't talk about being in a drought anymore."
Right.
Yet it comes down so hard and fast, it runs off before it sinks in. What does that have to do with the market?
Right.
Okay. When we have these very fast movements in the market, when the market zooms up or zooms down, it doesn't really affect your portfolio sometimes if you're not watching it. So we had something called the flash crash years ago, where people left at 8 o'clock to go to work. When they came back at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it looked like the market was about the same as it was when they left. But in the time they were gone, it went down 1,000 points and bounced right back up. So a lot of people had stop losses in. That means to prevent them from losing a lot of money, they would automatically sell some of their stocks. They ended up losing money because when the market went down real quick, it sold their shares very, very low, and then the market bounced back up. They were out of the shares, so they missed the recovery.
Wow.
So you have to be very careful. I don't like people building plans around market activity, like trying to time the market or day-to-day activity. So don't worry about the ups and downs unless they're going on and on and on. 1 or 2 days doesn't affect your retirement if you have the good plan in place. And that's another thing people need to know is they need to have their very own retirement plans in place when they get 52 or older.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about the bright jacket. So you wouldn't want to wash this bright jacket with something white because it might all blend together.
Yeah.
So we kind of were talking about laundry and sorting clothes with your
keeping the color separated. Now, with me, I'm not even going to wash this. I'm going to take this to professional and make sure it gets done right. And a lot of people out there are trying to do their own plans, and they have assets all intermingled. They have their retirement accounts at full risk. Well, that's great when they're going up. When the money's going up, when the market's going up, you're happy. But if the market goes the wrong way and your retirement money's there, you could be in a lot of trouble in retirement. And so when we put, back in the day, my first load of laundry, I put whites and I had a red shirt in there with whites.
Yeah.
So everything was pink. And so now I do my own laundry now. I learned from my mistakes, but yet I still, with something like this that needs to be dry cleaned, the dry cleaners know what they're doing. I give this to them all the time. And same thing with retirement planning. Folks, if you want a retirement plan, and there are people out there who plan retirements every single day, that's who you should really give your money to, not try to do it yourself. Because of, the worst client you have is yourself many times. And you look at a landscaper, the worst house in the neighborhood with the worst yard is usually the landscaper's because he or she's too busy doing it for everyone else. When they come home, they don't want to do it. So,
absolutely.
So be very careful when we're doing our own financial plans because you can get in a lot of trouble real quick.
There's no denying everybody loves a butterfly.
Yep.
But we sometimes forget they didn't start out that way.
They started a cocoon, didn't they?
Right.
As a worm or a caterpillar.
Exactly.
And so back in the day, we remember when I was little, that was activity to do. We grew up in a small town. There wasn't much else to do. We'd watch the caterpillars. They would climb up the tree, and all of a sudden a cocoon would appear. And I don't know how long, 2 or 3, 4 weeks later, all of a sudden butterflies would be all over the place. And so we need to have that same metamorphosis in our financial planning. So we need to put money away. Some money we can put away very soon that we know when we get to retirement, there'll be beautiful butterflies. There'll be money. There'll be coming to you every single month for the rest of your life after you go into the financial cocoon, we call it. So not all your money. You don't see, not everything there, and not every butterfly is pretty, and not every caterpillar survives, right? So we need to make sure we have some of our money put aside that we know we're going to need in retirement, and we know we don't want it to be at the whim of the market or the risk of the market.
I like that, a metamorphosis of the retirement plan.
And it happens. And so, it's hard to get adjusted to because you don't see financial cocoons in trees. You see butterflies and then caterpillar cocoons. So your financial planner better be a specialist in retirement planning. And if they're not, if they're keeping you basically as a caterpillar or a worm and not building a place to have that money that's going to be there and safe and secure and come out every single month for the rest of your life, then you really don't have a retirement plan.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, so the All-Star game in baseball is over. The race for the pennant is on, and my lowly Twins are falling through the floor. But that's not what we're talking about here. Yeah. We're talking about baseball in general and relating it to your financial
we
plan.
did, on the show this week, we did first, second, third, and home. So there's 4 bases.
Okay.
And basically the first base that you fill up when we're talking about getting close to retirement, getting close to that financial red zone, getting 10 years out of retirement, 52 and above, we need to start looking at it. First base, the most important base of all baseball, because if you don't get to first, you don't get to second, third, or home,
right,
is income planning. So we have to build an income plan. All right. And then the second base is we could take a little bit more risk because we already got a runner on first. And then we have estate planning and legal planning, that kind of thing, and making sure that our money, our tax planning, everything that works together so that you continually round the bases. And too many people, Steve, though, come up swinging for the fences, swinging for home runs, and they strike out. So you hear about, every now and then you hear on TV, somebody striking it rich. But you don't hear about all the people who struck out in the financial world, taking gambles and taking the wrong gambles. So it's about having a proper plan, making sure you have a good strategy, and don't swing for the fences all the time.
Right, but be
Singles
come out
are
on
better
top.
than strikeouts,
Exactly, but come out on top in the ninth inning.
And so there are some financial vehicles out there that zero is the worst you can do per year.
Absolutely.
And so you can do better, but never worse than zero. So the power of zero, we call it, very important. If you haven't heard about that, then you really need to click on the button below or give a call to find out what the power of zero is and how you can have that retirement plan that doesn't depend on home runs to be successful.
This is something that you talk about often, and retirement can be a scary thing, and people procrastinate because of that. But that can hurt you in the long run.
The three emotions: procrastination, fear, and greed. And procrastination, I'll do it tomorrow. We all have that. I mean, I've got a to-do list. Every single day I have a new to-do list. And a lot of things on the to-do list for today were on yesterday's to-do list.
Sure.
And the ones for tomorrow were probably on yesterday's to-do list too. But you keep checking things off, getting things done.
Yep.
And that's one cure of procrastination, is at least writing it down, identifying or admitting that you really are putting things off. And you never want to think about the money things either, but the money things are the most important, because with money, you can do everything else. Really can. And then fear is when we're in, let's say, our stock accounts and the market goes down. We should have liquidated a long time ago and made sure to protect some of our money, but instead we wait till the market goes way down. We get scared. The market's going to keep going down. We get out, and then the market goes back up, so you miss the recovery. And then greed is when the market's going way up, and we should take some of our profits, because you're not up until you're out. And so you need to take some of those profits out. And instead, you're piling more money in when the market's at all-time highs. And that's what's happening these days, by the way.
Sure.
People are piling more and more money in. Look at real estate as an example of that. And they have a profit, but what they're doing now is we know we're overheated. And so when the market goes the other way, you're not only going to lose what you have already gained, you're going to lose money you should never put at risk to begin with.
Absolutely.
So be very careful, because those emotions rule the world. So Steve, what's the antidote for that? It's basically making sure you have your money in different piles, different buckets, and some of that money should not be exposed to risk at all.
Terrific.
Very
well,
important.
that's a look back at last week's show.
Yep.
There's next week's show, Financial Safari, to look
There's
forward
always
to
next week.
with Coach Pete. So be tuned in for that, and be back here next week. We'll tell you what we did.
See you later, folks.